Good morning, world.
Good morning.
What is a right-wing extremist?
We're going to find out. Stay tuned. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, Cedric, before we get to that and our new old commercial, but you want to tell them quick about the party we went to on Saturday?
Is that why you asked me to send you pictures?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's because Heidi wanted pictures.
Oh, okay.
But this is what we went as here. And I'm still, if you're looking at this, and you can see this on camera, you notice I'm not wearing a hat either. I just got my hair cut. I don't know if you can see these marks here. So I glued hair, well, fake hair, to my arms and legs because I was a werewolf.
It was still cultural appropriation because you took the hair off a afro wig. So I guess you should have did that.
I'm canceled because of that.
Yes, it was fun. I went as the Mad Hatter, as you can see, and my girlfriend went as the Queen of Hearts. Your wife went as a
vampire.
So, you're the werewolf.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
cool. I had a bite mark here, and then she had some slashes. I was gonna go as a vampire also to take from my old pirate costume.
Yes.
But I figured with the beard, I wasn't gonna shave it.
Right.
So.
Right. All right.
Before we get to what is a right-wing extremist, I know you've missed it. I know you've been longing for it, and here it is.
Are you prepared? Do you have enough food, water, and other essentials to get you through tough times? If not, check out My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families just like yours. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed for 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. In fact, you may need it a lot sooner than that.
So don't wait. Go to www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually I do coming back with
Right.
it, huh? God, my goodness.
I completely forgot about
It's
it.
been a while.
So this was your idea.
Yeah, so I was listening to one of my long time, I wish I could say friends, somebody I've been listening to on the radio for decades now, Dennis Prager.
Yes.
And one of the questions posed on it was about conservatism, but then somebody posed a question, and it got me thinking about what is a right-wing extremist and why do they call people like us, which we are not extremists by any stretch of the imagination. I think we're just, everyday, normal people, but because we actually say our opinions now, and usually it was only people on the far left that you heard every day, had bumper stickers on every car. So now that we say something, now we're labeled right-wing extremists. And we want to dive into that.
Yeah. There's really nothing extreme about my life, my points of view. Now, I have some things in my life that I would consider non-negotiables. And we can talk about it. I can have a discussion with people. But at the end of the day, I can say, yeah, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to budge from my position. I hope we can still be friends. That's not gonna put a dark cloud over that. But I have some non-negotiables in my life that I just don't engage in.
And we talk about that all the time, though. Usually, the people that have non-negotiables, and there's going to be certain things as a society we want as non-negotiable. Murder, okay, non-negotiable.
That's a non-negotiable.
But there's people that are on the left side of the aisle that have some of their non-negotiables, which is fine. They can have their opinions. I don't cut them out of my lives. What's happened over the last 2 years is they find out some of and in my case, they might even not be non-negotiable. I just want to talk about them. I want to work through them, and I'm cut out of their life. Yeah. So It's different. So let's talk about, I just grabbed some topics off the thing. So let's start with guns, because that seems to be, if you're somebody who agrees with the Second Amendment, then you're a right-wing extremist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But but guns are important, and it's not for people who break into your house or anything like that, or people who may come into your home unannounced with a hammer and the alarms don't go off. How in the world that happens, I'll never know.
In his underwear.
In your underwear. If you're worth $500 million and you shatter the glass with a hammer, shouldn't the alarm go off?
Not only that, but why would somebody be looking for Nancy in their underwear? That guy definitely has mental issues.
All right.
All right,
Anyway,
guns.
all right. Okay. Guns. But it's like it's to protect yourself against a tyrannical government when they get too big and too powerful, because the government is for the people, by the people.
But let's go back to the simple equation, because let's say we're in a society, and I know we're slipping away from that now, but a society where you're not really worried about a tyrannical government, hopefully. There is protections. So in places like England or Great Britain, even the police, the regular police, don't carry guns because they pretty much outlawed guns. They do have a lot of killings by knife and things like that. But what do we know about people who get guns that are bad guys? They get them illegally, and they will get guns anyways. And I know there's guns going in and out of Europe. It's just not to the extent it is here, because here we let people out of prison that have had gun charges. George Floyd comes to mind.
Yes.
And there's the problem. It's we don't apply the rules and the laws to people who shouldn't have guns. We kind of let them back out. But again, if somebody, let's say they're just coming at you with a knife, okay, are you going to get in a knife fight, or are you going to just pull the gun out and say, I win, and then send them on their way?
I say you pull out the gun. Very similar to Harrison Ford did in the Indiana Jones, where the guy's turning the knife and he goes,
yeah, don't come to a gunfight with a knife.
Yes.
So, I mean, why is that an extreme thing to say, that I think that a society should have guns? The bad guys are still going to have the guns. I'd rather be in a society to where I know and feel secure that I can protect my family. I don't think that's an extreme thing to say.
No, and that's the beauty of newspeak that the left tries to use on us and say, well, now that you're upholding the Constitution, and what me and Brian said earlier during this segment is that we're not extremists, but we want to conserve. We're more conservative. We want to conserve the things that were given to us in the beginning, and that is the right to bear arms.
Let's hit the big one here: abortion. This is the one that got my attention on Dennis Prager.
I gotta go to the restroom. I'll sit it out.
So, and I'm gonna give the one scenario that I thought was good. So we have laws. Most of you, I would hope, agree with the statement: murder is wrong, and we should not allow a society that can murder other people. I didn't say kill. I said murder. If a pregnant woman gets shot in the belly or stabbed in the belly, whether she survives or not, if they kill that baby in her womb, they are up for murder. Yes. Correct?
Yep.
But if that same pregnant woman decides to kill that baby, that's considered choice. So you have to balance that right off the bat. So you're either going to be a society that says, okay, that's not murder anymore, which would be scary.
And you talked about the word baby, but that's the left's trick of using newspeak.
Well, even if you say fetus, it's still murder in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, but fetus kind of minimizes what you've done to it. When you go in as a couple and you get the ultrasound, you say, "Oh, look at your baby." Yeah, it's a baby. It has validity. But when you go in and you yank it out, it has a fetus. It was a clump of cells.
Right. And then to go back to why is that extreme? Let's go back to the European examples here. So in Europe, in most Western nations, we're the most barbaric. Most of them have something like a DeSantis decision. Mm-hmm. It's about 15 weeks. Unless it's going to harm the mother, you have to get that abortion before 15 weeks. Okay? I think that is a reasonable timeline and compromise. It's not perfect. Somebody like Cedric might say, no, conception, you can't terminate that pregnant. But then you have the other extreme, which is you can basically, right before you give birth, you can kill that baby. And that's what California pushes for. And they use things like incest and all that. It's like, well, if you were raped or there's incest, why did it take you 9 months? Why couldn't you do that in that 15 weeks?
Right.
Now, if the doctor says it's going to kill the mother if she births that baby, which is a very small fraction, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. I don't know. I don't know your position. And I know there are extremists on the right too, but your average Republican conservative is not that extremist position. And most people, by voting and polling, think that 15-week is a reasonable compromise. Yeah. And then you can negotiate from there.
Yeah.
Why is that extreme? Now, just basically, if you have an R by your name, you're an extremist. It's silly.
Absolutely. And like Brian said, I believe, conception, that's when life begins. My problem is when people use abortion as a form of birth control.
Let's go to the big one right here.
That wasn't the big one?
Speech. Nothing is a bigger assault, speech. So I have my handy dandy Declaration of Independence and Constitution here. The First Amendment. Congress, that sounds funny right now. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. What are they trying to take away from us right now?
Speech.
What is Elon Musk doing? He's standing up for free speech.
Yes.
That's all it is. And people call it hate speech, and it's like, just because you don't like it does not mean it's hateful.
Yeah, I think that's really weird. These people saying, and I know the great LeBron James has been talking about this, is that ever since Elon Musk took over in the last 48 hours from the point that we're filming, the use of the N-word has gone up drastically. And LeBron James thinking he's such a hypocrite because I'm sure he listens to rap music where the N-word is used over and over again. I know for a fact that it's used in the midst of NBA games. And even LeBron's own show, The Shop, he's dropped it there. So what he's saying is, as long as I'm using it, it's okay. I don't want anybody else using it. And I didn't get the stats on who's using the N-word, but I'm sure it's probably other black people who just refer to that in conversation.
Nobody wants to hear the N-word.
No.
But like you said, if you turn on rap, that's all you hear.
That's
and
all
then
you
you
hear.
expect these white kids who listen to rap all the time, it goes in and then you have to suppress it. It's dumb.
Yeah.
You don't use it or just don't bitch about it.
Right. And I haven't talked to Elon Musk personally. We plan on bringing him on the Cedric and Brian show.
He's African.
One day. He's African. Does
that mean he can use the N-word?
No, he can't use it. But he's about free speech, and he's not going to go through that Overton window where he says, okay, you can say whatever you want to say. There are still going to be rules and regulations along with that free speech, because like the Marvel comics, they always say when Peter Parker was talking to his Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility.
Uncle Ben's been canceled, I thought.
Not the rice, fool. Uncle Ben was, with great power comes great responsibility. So Elon Musk is saying, yeah, I want to give speech back to let's just say it, to Donald Trump, to say stuff on Twitter, but that doesn't mean he can say whatever he wants to say. There's still going to be restrictions on violence and threats and things of that nature.
And what's good too is when you have the freedom to say what you want, then now people can call you out instead of like people are always accusing people of that suppressive racism. Mm-hmm. It's like now if it comes out of their mouth, they're racist and you can shun them if you don't want them in your life. Otherwise, they're just harboring it and they're hiding it. We want these, and believe me, I don't like the Nazis. I don't like the KKK type people. I don't like white people, let's say. I don't like anybody but that says the N-word. But if they start showing up on there, then now we can point to them and say, look, these are the racists. We know they're the racists. Not the people just because they're Republican, they're a racist, or because they believe in free speech, they're a racist. Now you'll know who the racists are. I think this will be good.
Absolutely.
And it may hurt people's feelings, but this is the problem they have at universities, is that you coddle our kids so much that if something upsets them, they give them a safe space to go pet puppies. It's ridiculous. That's not the real world.
Yeah.
And again, do you want freedom or do you want authoritarianism? You can have a great, like what do they say about Cuba? Well, they had a great education system, but you only could learn what they told you could learn.
Right. And that's why Brian and I, we still keep our show on this YouTube platform. And people say, well, you guys should go straight to Rumble or some other platform. We know that the vast majority of you watching this right now, we're preaching to the choir. But every once in a while, we will get someone, because it's on the YouTube platform, who will challenge us what we say, and we don't mind that. And they're
Joyner Lucas, anybody?
And I've had some very respectful people who have written in the comments, hey, Cedric, you know what? I don't agree with you when you said blah, 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 blah. And I say, and I will start, you know what? Thank you for calling me out on that. I understand what you're saying. Here's why I feel the way I feel. Yeah. And I've had some people say, you know what? Thanks for the dialogue. It was great. Yeah. It was awesome. But then you have the others who are just upset that I even said what I said.
I'm going to bring in the comment right now. And this is, again, it's on the Joyner Lucas. If you've watched our show for long enough, you know we get the most hate for this because we didn't toe the victim line. So Cedric's supposed to play a victim. So the character in the thing played a victim. That's that was my overarching point of it. But of course, if you don't agree with that, then here's what we get. So this is by Jabril Miller. You two are trash. Miss the point from both sides completely. Try something new. But then he doesn't go on to say where we missed the point.
Right.
So yeah. Cedric's supposed to answer it. I answered it, and then I deleted it before I posted it because I was in a mood.
Yeah, he gets in a mood sometimes. And I get a lot of nebulous comments like that, like, oh, you guys are trash, or so you missed the point. And I understand.
Let us know the point we're missing.
What's the point that we're missing? Because I see that the black guy is playing the oppressed role, and the white guy is the extreme racist.
Yeah.
And like that. And I'm saying, well, no. And I said, and I hate this whole thing, people trying to put me in a bucket and say, well, you need to support our people. My people are Americans. And yeah, I want, especially black people, to stop playing the victim role. That seems to be so in vogue nowadays. And so when you have someone like the actor on the Joyner Lucas video who's saying, well, I'm going through this and my times are hard and you wouldn't know anything about me. And it's like, well, you're playing the victim role now when there's so much more, the things that are available to you that's available to Brian.
Because guess
someone
what?
Else.
Life is hard for everybody regardless of skin color. People go through stuff and you don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. And that's when you want to step back and say, okay, what's going on in their life? If that was a case where this was a person and he was going through that, but it wasn't. This was a narrative of a song that Joyner Lucas wrote to try to keep promoting the same narrative as like white people don't have it as bad as black people. So here you go. You got to be the victim if you're black. If it's on an individual basis, then good. Let's do it on an individual basis because we know there are racists. But when you just say a blanket statement that society is racist, that's where you lose us, and that's where we come back on these videos, and then we get hate for it.
Yes.
I think we hit it all.
Yeah. So we want to just talk about what is a right-wing extremist. And like Brian said in the opening, we don't consider it as extreme. We just want to conserve what we have in this country. We don't want to give it away. We don't want to throw it away. And people are always coming down on me and say, Cedric, you guys talk about politics. You talk about what's going on in the culture. Just post pictures of your kids and beautiful things like that. And it's like, I said, you don't understand. I care about your kids, and that's why I talk about the stuff that I talk about.
In the last 2 years, and I think this is why the red wave is coming, is because we got to see what all the left-wing politics has got us. From schools, from sheltering kids and not letting them go to school and then masking them. The test scores now over the last 2 years are abysmal in this country. I mean, they were already bad because of the left-wing politics that have been going on for 30 years in our education system. But now we've seen, look what happens when we implement these left-wing politics. It's horrible for our kids, so we stand up for the kids.
Right? Well, let us know what you think. Let us know if you think you're a right-wing extremist. If you think anything that we brought up today, leave it in the comments section and let us know what you think about it.
And believe me, we know there are right-wing extremists and there's left-wing extremists, but most of the people they call right-wing extremists aren't.
All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, and continue sharing our channel with everyone you know. And we know you're coming up on Thanksgiving. We're thankful for you. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.
Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men so advanced beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free. Thank you.